Hey guys, thanks for checking the video out. If you're like me, you're trying to decide between two of the best garage units I think there are, especially if you have a tight space, and that is the Foresight GC3, or in this case I have the Launch Pro Bushnell Edition, or the Skytrak. I've had the Skytrak for probably about 4 or 5 years. It's been a great unit. I've recently decided to upgrade to the Bushnell Launch Pro. I was looking for kind of the next step in information, get more club information, but maybe that's not what you need. But the purpose of this video is I just want to get a shot-by-shot comparison of the two, see where they agree, where they disagree, where maybe the Skytrak falls short of the Foresight, or where maybe this one actually keeps up. So with that, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up the Skytrak and the Bushnell Launch Pro to see the same shot at the exact same time, so we can do a true head-to-head comparison to see how they read the same shot. So the first thing I need to do is turn on the alignment tool for the Skytrak. So we go to device level, alignment mode on, and it puts out a second dot. So now we have two, and this is the target line that the Skytrak is lined up with. So the next thing I want to do is first put a ball down. I'm going to be using brand new TP5s for this test. And we want to make sure that the Bushnell can see the ball, and it can. It's in the zone. So I'm going to take that away, and then I'm going to take the collapsible alignment stick and just set this down. And what's going to happen is, right across both dots, the Bushnell automatically sees that and adjusts. So it says remove stick when ready to hit. So we take that away, and now both units are set up to see the same shot at the same time at the same angle. So it should give us some really consistent readings. Okay, a little pull. Ooh, a little long. Okay, so on the Foresight we have 96 yards carry, pulled it about a degree, 80 mile an hour ball speed. On the Skytrak, 81 mile an hour ball speed, straight, no side spin, backspin 9,700, on here 98, almost 9,900, so fairly close. Launch angle 25 degrees, launch angle 25.1, so really close. The thing that I think Skytrak missed there was side spin. I got 800 side spin on Skytrak. It just said center, so it sent it dead straight. Okay, a little pull. Ball speed 77, Skytrak 78. Backspin on Foresight 9,700, 9709 on Skytrak, so almost identical. Side spin 416 left on Skytrak, 634 left on Foresight, so very close. That's close enough on a lob wedge. Start line was center on Skytrak, 0.8 left on Foresight. That's close enough. Within a degree is pretty fair. And then launch angle 26.8 on Foresight, 27 degrees, so practically identical on Skytrak, and then carry of 91 on Foresight, 92 on Skytrak. So I mean, these are great shots. 2 yards left finishing on Skytrak, and 3.5 yards left finishing on Foresight. Okay, left again. Okay, so here's something that happens periodically. Skytrak missed that one. And that's the one thing I've noticed with Skytrak. I've had it for years. It's a great unit, but it will miss a shot from time to time. So we'll go ahead and set up again. Another very important thing with Skytrak is to make sure the logo is facing the unit. If it's not, it'll have trouble picking it up, or at least being accurate. So let's go ahead and try again. Ooh, it's a little skinny. See how they read. So Skytrak got that one. Great miss. So we have on Foresight 87 yards carry, 91 on Skytrak, 8,700 backspin versus 8,900. Push 2 degrees on Skytrak, push 0.3 degrees on Foresight. Ball speed 75 on Foresight, ball speed 76. Launched 22 degrees, so exactly the same. I mean, very close. Side spins 142 on Foresight versus 384 on Skytrak. So I mean, those are pretty close. Biggest difference I'd say would be the carry at a 4-yard difference. But overall, pretty happy with that. 5 yards offline there, 1 yard offline here. So let's do 2 more. You know, what I think I'm gonna do is try to hit maybe 20 shots of these so we have a good average to compare. Okay, we've hit our 20 shots. I am sweating good. It's hot here in my garage. Overall, very, very consistent numbers. Average spin 9,600, average spin 9,600. Average side spin 550 left, average side spin 177 left. So I would say Skytrak struggles a little bit on picking up accurate side spin, which is the axis of the ball and how much it tilts. Carry, 92 yards carry, 93 yards on Skytrak. So very close. Launch angle 25.5 degrees, exactly 25.5 degrees, 25.8 I guess on here. So average ball speed 77.8, average ball speed 78, so the same. So overall, with the lob wedge hitting, you know, fuller shots, I would say the Skytrak does a fantastic job of keeping up with the Foresight unit. You will get the occasional missed read, and you'll get the occasional kind of wild one that's a little off. But you'll know it because you know, like that one that says I blocked 6 degrees. It felt square. It felt great, and the Foresight backed that up. So I would say, as far as lob wedge goes on fuller shots, it keeps up great. One thing I've heard is on like lob shots, or the ones that go straight up, that's where Skytrak can struggle. So I'm not going to hit 20 of them, but you know, let's hit a few. I'm going to reset. Let's hit a few and see, you know, see what the differences are. Okay, went pretty high. They both got it. So 26 yards of carry, 27 yards of carry, launched at 39 degrees, launched at 40 degrees. So spin 6,100, spin 6,300. So they got them pretty close. Let me see. It'd be easier if I was doing this off grass, or I could tee it up a little higher, but let me see if I can get it launching over 40 degrees. See if we have any issues. That was definitely higher. Okay, they both got it. 32 yards of carry, 32 yards of carry. Launched at 44 degrees. Launched at 44 degrees. 6,000 backspin, 6,000 backspin. Side spin was a big difference. That one caught 1,400 versus about 700. So you're going to see more curve in the Foresight. Ball speed 60, no, club speed 60. Ball speed 41, ball speed 41. Woo. They both got it. 32 yards, 5,700 backspin, about 5,700 backspin. Side spins off again, 1,600 versus 900. But I mean, if the result's the same, then what's it matter? 41 ball speed, 41 ball speed. 5, okay, so that had me starting at 5 degrees offline, about 4 degrees offline. There, it does a great job. Let's try a softer one. Okay, so that was a wild one. That one I left the face wide open, and it went right. But we're not looking for good shots, we're just looking for consistent results, right? So 23 yards of carry, 21 yards of carry, 22 degrees offline, 23 degrees offline. I mean, I hit that, like, I think I hit it off the toe a little bit, and it just shot it out. That was a good one. Okay, so here's one. So here's a misread, again on the Skytrak. So I can't get the Skytrak to miss one, surprisingly, but I can get it to misread it, or misunderstand what's going on. So this one, on foresight, 19 degrees, or 19 yards of carry, that's 20. So I got the carry right, but I pulled it 4 degrees on here. I pulled it 17 degrees on here. So it saw it going way further left than it really did. Launch angle still about right. So yeah, I just missed direction, which obviously on a simulator, if you're playing around, I mean, that's massive. You know, this has me as 4 feet to the pin. This has me 6 yards offline, so it's at 18 feet. That's a massive difference, especially if you're playing with gimmies inside, like, you know, 5-6 feet. So I would say the Skytrak does a decent job on the flop shots and really high ones. I got the pin set at 175 yards. So let's hit 3 or 4 7-irons, compare the data, and then I'll finish out 20 to see what the average looks like. Oof, smoked it. Okay. 123 ball speed, 125 ball speed. 177 carry, 182, 53, 50 on the foresight versus 52.38 for spin on the Skytrak, so pretty close. Let me turn side spin on here. So side spin on here was 13.32 versus 10.15. So pretty big hook. But overall, I mean, the numbers are fairly close. Okay, that one's a pretty good one. .122 ball speed, 123, pretty close. 5,700 spin versus 55.50. Again, pretty close. 16 degrees of launch, about 17 degrees, pretty close. 174 versus 178 carry, fairly close. Side spin, 800 versus 700. Push 3.7, push 2 degrees. So everything's pretty close on that one. Those I would say are nearly identical. Let's do a couple more. Okay. So these are very different results. So, I mean, that has me at a 3-degree block with right spin, 265, so a little push cut. This one has me at pushing it almost 3 degrees, but then drawing it back with about 1100. So that's pretty big. Overall spin was only 4600 there versus 5600 here. 185 carry, 170. I mean, they're completely different shots. Ball speed was the same at 124. Launch was 16 on each, but those are really all it got right, or all they agreed on. Other than that, the rest of this was completely off. So when it comes to accuracy, I have to assume foresight's going to be more accurate. So that was a big misread as far as I'm concerned from the Skytrak. And I also felt a draw on that last one. Okay, good shot. Okay, we got another very different result here. Different flight, I shouldn't say different result. So Skytrak has 175 carry, Foresight 175 carry, 121 ball speed on Skytrak, 122 on Foresight, 16 degrees of launch on Foresight, 15 on Skytrak. Where there's a big difference is Skytrak has me at a 3-degree pull and Foresight has me at almost a 4-degree push. And then draw spin, 579 versus 530, so those are very close. Overall spin, 5,600 versus about 5,300, so those are pretty close. So a lot of the numbers were pretty close other than the direction it started, which, again, if you're practicing or playing a sim, if it's getting the start direction wrong, that's massive. That's massive. That should be a big draw. Yeah, that's what I felt. Big hook. They both got it. Okay, so not my greatest shots, I have to admit, on these, but you know, we're not here to see great shots. We're here to see how they compare. And honestly, I kind of want to see the bad shots, because if it's telling me what I felt, I'm pretty good with feel, but there's a massive difference between these two in spin. So 176 carry, 184 carry, 3,700 spin versus 5,300 spin on Foresight. Ball speed 122 and 124, close enough. Both 15 degrees of launch, but one has me at 31 yards offline to the left. This one has me 33, so that's pretty close as an end result. But the way it got there, I mean, the draw spin on Foresight was almost 2,000 versus only 534 on here. So very inconsistent. Let's see what it looks like shaping. I'm going to try to cut one. I'm not the greatest cutter of the ball, but let's see how I do here. Okay. So high, short, pretty much what I expected. That's what Foresight told me. So 114 ball speed, 116 ball speed on Skytrak, 6,000 spin Skytrak versus 6,500, about 6,500 on Foresight. Side spin was pretty similar, 632 to 522. Carry, 158 versus 162, pretty close. I mean, they're launch angle, both about 20. So I read it right. I 100% agree with Foresight as far as what I felt, and these two are telling me. I'm gonna tell you Foresight is very correct. So it's good at picking up the shape, but I think as you deviate from like a down the middle good strike, Skytrak will start to struggle a little bit. Overall, though, it's pretty close. And you know, if you're in the budget for one of these, and Skytrak is, you know, cheaper, and you don't need the club data, you know, I know Skytrak's got more options when it comes to sim software with E6 and TGC and a few others, versus the GC3 and the Bushnell. I don't think those support it yet. I don't know, maybe they do now by the time you're watching this, but you're pretty much stuck with the Foresight courses, which are decent, but they're expensive to add on, and you have a limited number of courses versus the thousands that you get with the other software. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a few more to get to 20, and then we'll look at the data. Whew. Okay, that was 20 shots. It is so hot in my garage. I am sweating bad. I didn't take any missed hits out. There's a few pretty bad ones in there, but I felt like the bad and the good should all be put together here so we can see really how the two perform in a true comparison here. So looking at the averages, averaged 120.4 ball speed, 121 on Skytrak, launch angle 16.2 versus 15.9, so essentially the same. Launch direction 2.3 right on Foresight versus 1.2 right on Skytrak, so close. It favored left a little bit more, but there's a few that it favored right a lot, so it kind of balanced out. Total spin averaged 55.34 with 5/16 standard deviation. This one we got 51.48. So they do overlap a little bit, but generally more spin on the foresight. I expect it to read spin a little bit better. And in general, I see more spin on the foresight than I do the Skytrak. Total carry 171 average. I mean, there's a 156 in there, and there's, you know, I think a 180, so it's pretty close. Let's see, where is it? 181 total carry, 175 carry average on the Skytrak. So in general, I saw with the 7-iron, it carried a little bit longer, generally because of it read that ball speed a little bit faster on average. Even though actually on average it's not that far off, but there were a few that it read it, you know, several miles per hour higher, and at the same time lower spin, which gave me those extra carry. So, but I mean, pretty close. You know, 70. You're talking about 4 yards of carry. You're talking about a few hundred RPM in total spin. Side spin averaged, you know, 962 left. So I was hooking a lot of them today versus 839 left. So I mean, that's not even, it's barely 100 off. So overall, Skytrak averaged very close to what the foresight unit did, but there were a few outliers that I think if I delete those, you'll find that the average on Skytrak was a little further off. I think those outliers are kind of what brought it back into the averages being so close. But maybe not. They're close enough to where I think, again, if you're looking for something that's more budget friendly, you know, these Skytraks, you can pick them up used for $1,500 to $1,800, a little below retail. But yeah, 7-iron overall, pretty accurate. Again, I think Foresight's going to be the overall winner as far as accuracy goes, but you know, I'm still impressed with Skytrak and how well it keeps up. Wasn't the greatest strike, but down the middle. Okay, so there's a good one. 148 clubhead speed. I did miss that one a bit out the toe. So clubhead speed drop. Usually I'm in the mid 150s to 160 on my good shots. 15.6 launch, 16 launch. So that's good. Both say 148 ball speed. So side spin was 33, which is basically straight. This says straight. It's centered. 2256 backspin, 2000 backspin. So about 10% off there. 263 carry, 253 carry. A little extra spin probably cost me some yards on that. But 280 total, 284 total. So the totals are pretty close. You know, total really depends on the software you're using. You know, if I'm on TGC or E6, it's going to be whatever their algorithms say. But overall, you know, pretty close. I ended 0.8 yards offline and 7 yards offline. So 7 yards in the grand scheme of things is not bad. Yeah, a little block fade. That's about what I felt. So that's pretty accurate. Kind of the same on Skytrak. So again, looking at the numbers, 154 ball speed, better strike, 156 ball speed. 2700 spin, just over 2700 spin. Side spin was centered on this, 381 on foresight. So this shows more of a cut spin, that shows more of a straight block. 4 degrees offline on the start, 4.6 in the start, 263 carry, 266 carry on Skytrak, 283 total on foresight, 292 on Skytrak. But again, that's just software. I think the fairway just runs firmer on their software. wasn't my best strike again, but whatever. 153 ball speed, 154 ball speed, 266 carry, 263 carry, foresight 287 total, Skytrak 292 total. You know, within 5 yards, that's good. The Skytrak says it was almost no side spin, started dead straight. This one says it started 0.8 degrees left, and had 179 cut spin, which is normally a little baby cut. The graphic, if anything, on Skytrak shows a baby draw, but again, it's probably a couple hundred revs difference. Can't be too much more than that. Finishing 7 yards offline and 4 yards offline. This says 7 yards right. This says 4 yards left. So they're 11 yards apart, but both, you know, basically down the middle. 13.9 launch, 14 launch, 2350 backspin, 2261 backspin, you know, less than 100 off. So, you know, pretty close to agreeing with each other. There's definitely some differences. And, you know, like I said earlier, if I'm going to trust one, I'm going to trust the foresight. But again, the Skytrak is not so far off that I would say this thing sucks. It's an impressive unit for the price point it comes in at. Yeah, that's what I felt. A little push cut again. That's kind of the shot I'm fighting right now. It's 154 ball speed foresight, 156 on Skytrak, 266 carry foresight, 265 carry on Skytrak, 287 total versus 291 total, so 4 yard difference. Spin 2574 on foresight, 2488, practically the same again, less than 100 different. That's really impressive. 308 side spin to the right on foresight, 250 side spin to the right on Skytrak. So they look like they basically gave me the same shot. Both of them say 25 yards offline. Both of them say roughly 14. This is 13.6. This is 14 degrees launch. You know, this thing's rounding up because it doesn't do decimals. So yeah, I'm gonna call it there and say the Skytrak reads the driver pretty well. Let's take a look at just the averages we got with the shots I hit. Average 152 ball speed, average 154 ball speed. We'll do spin, average 2412, average 2444, so practically identical. Side spin 225 right versus 55 right, so a couple hundred off. Again, relatively small in the grand scheme of things. Let's go carry 265 versus 262. So yeah, they're basically the same. So that was my head-to-head comparison of the Bushnell Launch Pro and the Skytrak. Hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.